Tadashivasamaarambham Shankaraachaarya madhyamam Asmadaacharya paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahabhiryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. त्रैलोक्यनाथ हरिमीड्यमुदारसत्वं शक्तेस्तनूजतनयं परमेष्ठिकल्पं जीमूतमुक्तविमलाम्बरचारुवर्णं वासिष्ठमुग्रतपसं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्। विनिवर्त्य रतिं विषये विषमां परिमुच्य शरीरनिबद्धमतिं परमात्मपदे भवनित्यरतो जहि मोहमयं भ्रममात्ममतेः. So this is the verse we were looking at, which is the teaching in summary. Because in the previous verse, the Shishya approaches the Guru and then requests the Guru that please teach me, and also shows certain qualifications why he has to be taught, correct? He or she has to be taught means for a Guru to teach, you have to be qualified enough to receive the knowledge, because any knowledge has prerequisites. Even if you want to register for an advanced physics course, anybody cannot go and register. You already require some knowledge of mathematics and even basic physics, like that. Similarly, here the student already showed that I am qualified to receive this knowledge by talking about how this world itself is like an ocean where one is doing endless swimming. Okay, it's a life of becoming. So that means the student has a certain understanding of one's fundamental problem. So unless you have an understanding of your fundamental problem and you are actually seeking a solution for that, unless that is the case, studying Vedanta will not be very useful. Anybody can study Vedanta even to get a PhD or to become an academic and get a professorship or a livelihood. Many Panditas are also like that. Even here in India also, there are many people who are very good. They are knowledgeable in the Shastras, they know Samskrita, but they didn't study the Shastra as a mumukshu. Unless you study the Shastra as a mumukshu, as one who is desiring freedom from all limitations, as the one who wants to resolve one's own fundamental problem of being a limited, wanting being, then you will not get the result which the Shastra is supposed to give you. You will get whatever other result you really wanted otherwise, correct? So the student has shown that I understand what is my problem, but I seek the solution from you. Please teach me. Then for that, what did the Guru teach? Guru's teaching is very simple. So he says, give up your attachment or longing for Vishaya, for sense objects, because that is something very natural for any being, because all living beings have a certain natural identity with the body mind sense complex, whatever it may be. It may be an animal body, it may be a human body, it may be a Deva Sharira. There are different types of bodies, but all these beings have attachment or identity with the body, and based on that the Vyavahara is happening. Okay, So in this manner, everybody is externally driven, you can say, correct? And takes oneself for granted. We are all pursuing something in the objective world and take the subject for granted. Give up such a pursuit, okay? And also give up the idea that you are the body, because Vedanta itself is very simple. It is the analysis that I am not what I see. This analysis has to keep on going all the time till that identity with whatever you see is gone. Otherwise, there is a natural identity with body, mind, sense complex, but body, mind, sense complex themselves are an object of your cognition. You are of the nature of being the cognizer, correct? So, the only sadhana a Vedantin has to do all the time is, I am not what I see. Whatever I see, I am not. That is why our Pujya Swamiji used to give this bitter pill. He used to say that I know I am in sorrow, therefore I am not in sorrow. In fact, even for sorrow, you should have such ideas, correct? Such understanding. In fact, even one Tamil poet also, Bharatiyar, is there. He was talking about that everything is Bhagavan, correct? Everything is Ishvara, everything is Atma, means. So he says, Tikul viralai vittal Nandalala, Ninnai Teendum Inbam Tondrudada, like that. It's a very interesting way of putting it. He says, even if I put my finger into the fire, hey Nandalala, he is talking about Krishna. He says, hey Nandalala, you are there everywhere as everything. But that includes even things like if I put my finger into the fire and whatever that burning feeling I get also is you only, he says. Tikul viralai vital, ninai teendum inbam, he says. Even he says it is the pleasure of touching you. Even if I put my finger into the fire, I am really touching you only. Whether it is a pleasant experience or unpleasant experience, everything is one only. So this is something one has to be clear. So by knowing that you are the self who is of the nature of a conscious being, to whom everything becomes evident, give up this mohamayam brahmam is what Totakaacharya is saying. So this erroneous cognition born out of ignorance. What is the erroneous cognition or wrong notion? Taking yourself as the body, mind, sense complex. So give up that and be nitya rataha, he says. Always enjoy being the source of all happiness. In fact, you are Atma alone is the very source of all happiness. Even happiness cannot be really located anywhere, correct? It is not an object. If it is an object, everybody will go to the market and buy kilos, I think. Or it is not a quality of any object also. So then where does this happiness reside? Means it is yourself only. Atma is Ananda Swarupa. You are the source of all happiness because you are the only one who is unconditionally loved or liked. I alone is the unconditionally liked vastu, you can say. So that which is unconditionally loved alone has to be the source of happiness, correct? It cannot be otherwise. It cannot be anything else. So knowing oneself as the source of all happiness itself means you are then reveling in this Atma Swarupa alone. That is also explained in the Shastra also, correct? Atma Ratihi, Atma Kridaha, and all these words are there. Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha, like that Gita also Bhagavan says. So being happy in oneself, by oneself and all that, like that Bhagavan talks about that. That is the Nitya Rataha. So this is the teaching the teacher is giving in brief, that give up your pursuit of all sense objects, give up the idea that you are the body mind sense complex, and live in the understanding that you are the self who is the conscious being who is the source of all happiness, who is limitless. So you are the limitless conscious being who does not have any wants. In fact, you are beyond all wants, all needs. So that is the understanding. With that understanding, destroy all ignorance about yourself, all wrong notions, give up. So this alone now, next the teacher is going to explain in a few more verses. So continuing, Visrijanna mayadishu panchasutam ahamasmi mameti matim satatam Drishirupamanantamritam vigunam hridayasthamavehi sadahamiti. So sada ahamiti avehi. So no, I am always this. What is that? Drishirupam, anantam, ritam, vigunam, hridayastham. These are all the things you should know yourself as. And also, first give up the wrong notions and know yourself like this. Both are presented here. So first line is what all you have to give up. Next line is what you have to own up as yourself. So giving up also is very important, because everybody starts with wrong notions about oneself. So first you have to give up the wrong notions and then own up your own reality. So the whole pursuit is only these two things again. So this is beautifully given here in 2 lines. First is you have to give up the wrong notions about yourself. What are these wrong notions? Annamayadishu, panchasu, tam ahamasmi, mameti. This is the wrong notions. Okay. I am there in the Annamaya, etc. Starting from Annamaya onwards. You place the I, correct? Or you take it as mine. Either way, it is a problem. Whether you place your identity itself there, or you take it as mine, both are wrong notions. So Visrija means give up. Annamayadishu panchasu. So five koshas we talk about, correct? This is in Taittiriya Upanishad. Starting from Annamaya onwards. So Annamaya means what? Anna vikara, modification of food. Because the body itself is nothing but food only, correct? You eat daily, whatever you eat, that alone is sitting in different places. But then we take that as I. That's where the problem. So that then it becomes a kosha, in fact, really. Annamaya is body. But why it is a kosha? Kosha means a covering. Okay. So why the body, or in English they call it food sheath. Okay. You can call it food sheath also, no problem. So a sheath is a covering. Why is it a covering? So Bhashyakara says, Koshavat achhadaniyat. Koshavati says, like a covering, these things cover your real nature, your reality, because by placing the I on the body, it has covered your true nature. In fact, you take on all the qualities of the body then. In fact, the modern civilization is the worst in that, I think, because everybody is fighting for There is a lot of identity politics also now. Everything is based on Deyatma Buddhi, completely Deyatma Buddhi, correct? Taking oneself as the body, your entire identity based on the body, you are fighting for it, you become an activist, all that. In fact, as a Vedantin, you have to give up all that. So, you are not the body. Body is something which becomes evident to you. It's not even your body, in fact. You cannot claim it as your body really, because what part of your body is owned by you really? At best, you can say you are a trustee. The body has been entrusted to you because it's all from your mother. Later on, all the food was given to you by different people. Even now, the food you eat is not produced by you, correct? Modern people cannot live even for a few days by themselves, I think. In fact, once I went to Arunachal Pradesh in India. It is like in the northeast. And there still it's not highly populated, and lot of forest areas, hilly areas, because it's all like one portion of the eastern side of the Himalaya. And a lot of people live there, Vanavasis, forest dwellers. So what struck me there when I went and interacted with them is that every one of them, they can live by themselves. They take care of everything for themselves. Means they grow their own food. They do not depend on anybody else. Or at least they can gather their own food, even if they don't grow everything. They make their own clothes also. They all know how to weave. They build their own houses with their hands. So all the basic requirements each person is capable of doing. But those who grew up in the city, they don't even know how. They all know that some packed thing is coming to you, correct? So there is even a joke, correct? So somebody asked a child, where do you get fish, or where you can see fish? Means it said it is in a can. That's all people know, correct? You think it is all given to you nicely packed. That's all you know. But these people, they can take care of themselves. They can live in the forest without the aid of anybody else. They can take care of all their fundamental requirements, basic needs. But we are not like that. So the Annamaya, you cannot claim as your own. In fact, my Guruji used to say, all the amoebas and bacteria are living for generations inside you. So they have a better claim on your body. Okay. If you go to a court and have a trial, to whom this body belongs, then you will definitely lose. Because the mother will come and claim, father will come and claim, all the people who gave you food will come and claim, and even bacteria will claim, he used to say. And finally, the state also will claim. State has a right on your body. That's why you cannot commit suicide also. So you will be punished for that. So everybody has a claim on the body. So you cannot even say mama iti. It is mine also. You cannot say. Aham also is wrong. Mine also is wrong. So that is for the body. Then what else are there? 5 panchasu. Next is all the functions like hunger, thirst are all there, correct? Pancha prana we say. Breathing in, breathing out, digesting the food. Then what? Circulating the nourishment all over the body. Like this, there are different physiological functions. Who is doing that? Prana is doing all these functions. But you take this prana as I. and you say all the physiological activities become your activities. I am hungry, I am thirsty, like this. That also is wrong. Then mind comes. I desire, I intend. Correct? Sankalpa vikalpatmika. I doubt, I think, I have different ideas. These are all mental modes, you can say, correct? States of mind or activities of your mind. But then you identify with that. I am a thinker. All these things are there, correct? I am a doubter. So identification with the mind, that is also a problem. Then all the mental states become your states. I am sad, I am happy. I am happy will come later, but so all the different emotional states also you identify with that, then it becomes your problem. Then buddhi also is there. Vijnanamaya kosha it is called. Okay, so annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha. Then Vijnanamaya kosha is there. Vijnanamaya means you identify yourself with your intellect or buddhi. So Nischayatmika buddhi, it is said. Sankalpa vikalpatmika manaha. So the buddhi is the one which cognizes. So identification as the cognizer. I know this. This is like this. So whatever you know with certainty, that is all cognition, knowledge. So identification as a knower, in fact as a doer. Kartritvam is there in the Vijnanamaya kosha, it is said. So you take yourself as a karta, doer. That is the problem. Then you seek solution by doing something all the time. But whatever you do, the results of action is not going to solve your problem. So that is something you have to recognize before you even come and study Vedanta. That's what we saw already. The student at least analyzed all these things and come to a certain conclusion. So the Vijnanamaya kosha is also another locus of error, locus of wrong identification. That is another kosha. Then Anandamaya kosha means I am an enjoyer. Priya moda pramoda, it is talked about. I like. Then I love, moda. Then pramoda is even more than that moda. Prakarshena moda. So I am ecstatic about something, you can say. All these things. Of course, if you are ecstatic about something, if it is not there, then you will be in depression also. It is all a yo-yo. But that is the bhokta, we say. The bhoktritvam is the Anandamaya kosha. So basically, karta bhokta, the individual is a doer and enjoyer. The individual self is taken as a doer and an enjoyer. But all these things are not your qualities, your dharma. These qualities are all in these different koshas only, in these different so-called coverings. You are in fact untouched by any of these things. All these things become evident to you, that's all. You are the knower of all these, whatever activities which are happening in these different places, locus of errors. So then if you are not all these things, or it is not even yours to claim, what are you? Means that the Guru is teaching in the next line I told you, correct? So first line is what? Visrija satatam. aham asmi mameti matim. So this thinking that I am these koshas are mine, give up. Okay, give it up all the time. In fact, do not embrace these ideas ever. Give it up for good. And then what? Satatam drishi rupam, anantam ritam vigunam hridayastham. These are all the words used. Drishi rupam, drishi swarupam means what? You are of the nature of seeing, knowing. Jnana swarupa, we call it. Because when we talk about seeing or knowing, that also can be looked upon as an activity, correct? The action of knowing. Jnana kartritvam. In fact, that's how we take ourselves with reference to the mind. Because when we talk about knower, the knower is really the mind, because the mind only goes and takes the shape of an object, and then knowledge takes place. So the activity of mind is wrongly taken as the my activity or the activity of the consciousness itself. Consciousness does not change itself or take any form or do any action. Consciousness is revealing whatever is there all the time. That's all. That is its very nature, in fact. That's why Bhashyakara, if you read different Bhashyas like Brihadaranyaka Upanishad or Kena Upanishad or even Aitareya Upanishad, in all these places, how does he teach the self? He's teaching the self as Drishtehe Drashtaram. That's how. Drishtehe Drashtaram. In fact, the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad itself teaches this. And Kena Upanishad also says this, correct? Shrotrasya Shrotram, Manasaha Manaha, Vachasya Vacham, Pranasya Pranaha, Chakshushas Chakshuhu. Like this, the ear of the ear, mind of the mind, then eye of the eye, all these things, what does it mean? Drishtehe Drashtaram, that's what. Seer of the sight. That is you. That is the Drishi Swarupam or Drishi Rupam which is talked about here. And so, in fact, Bhashyakara in the Brihadaranyaka Bhashya, Aitareya Bhashya and all, he argues that there are two types of sight. One sight is the sight of the Indriya, the organ itself. That is only a temporary sight, because that sight is there only when the organ itself is active, correct? If the organ for some reason cannot act properly, or it is resolved in deep sleep, then that sight comes to an end. So it is only a temporary sight, but there is a permanent sight, which is the seer of the sight itself. Because who knows whether the eyes are seeing or not? Who knows whether the ears are hearing or not? Who knows whether the mind is thinking or not? When you look at that, that is what in the Kena Upanishad also is said as Shrotrasya Shrotram, Manaso Manaha, all those things. That is the conscious being to which everything becomes evident. That consciousness never sleeps. Understand that. Even during sleep, you knew that you did not know anything. That knowledge also, you can get up and say, I slept well, I did not know anything. Sukham aham aswapsam. Na kinchid avedisham. Like this, it is said in Sanskrita. So I slept very well. I did not know anything. All these things, that you know something, you did not know something, all these things become evident to you as a conscious being. That conscious being is you really, not the body mind sense complex. The sense organ, the activities of the sense organs, the activities of the mind everything becomes evident to whom? That is the Drishi Swarupa, the Drishi Rupa we call it as the Drishtehe Drashtaram, the seer of the sight itself. So, Drashtuhu, Drishtehe Drashtuhu, no. The sight of the seer never ceases. Like this, the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says. Okay. So, it says, Viparilopo na vidyate. Viparilopaha means what? Coming to a stop, or cessation, or ceasing to act. Now, this never happens for the conscious being, which is the seer of the sight. Drishtehe drashtaram. The one who is the Drishtehe drashta, for that person or for that vastu, or that thing, there is no stoppage or cessation. It never ceases. Why? Because it is avinashitvat, it says. Because it is the indestructible. It's always there with the same swarupa, the nature. It is the unchanging, invariable in every cognition. So you have to recognize yourself as the invariable in each and every cognition. And that conscious being, next question will be what? Okay, I can understand that I am a conscious being, because also I understand the logic that I am not what I see, and everything becomes evident to me. This is fine. But still, I am a limited conscious being. Why? Because I know only whatever is happening in this body, mind, sense complex. Still, there is a problem. I am a limited conscious being means no. This is where the Shastra is important. Understand this. Up to this, anybody can even arrive at it by your own analysis. This is the Drigdrishya Viveka, we call it, correct? So the analysis of what is seen and the seer. So anybody can do this analysis and at least arrive at that I am a conscious being. But then beyond this, the Shastra is the Pramana. Shastra is coming and now saying, hey, this conscious being is the only one who is really there. Because even, look at this, you never know any other consciousness, correct? No other consciousness can be objectified. All you are objectifying are always some other body, mind, sense complexes only. There is no second consciousness which is ever known to you. There is only one consciousness which is self-revealing, self-existent consciousness. And that consciousness is Satyam. That is the only reality. And it is also Anantam. It's not limited by anything. It is the limitless. In fact, you can take yourself as a limited conscious being only if that consciousness is placed in space-time. Is that clear? But even our personal experience is that even space-time becomes evident to me. So I am not in space-time. Space-time is in me. In fact, I transcend space-time. Even when there is no space-time, as in the waking, I am there. Then in dream, I create a totally new space-time. And within that space-time, again, I am doing Vyavahara. Then in deep sleep, again, there is no space-time, nothing is there, but I am there as a conscious being. So by doing this analysis, that space-time also is known as only an object of cognition. It is also mithya. It is not as real as you are. So you as the conscious being, you transcend all the things which becomes evident to you as an object of your cognition, because you are the invariable, unchanging reality behind every cognition. That unchanging, invariable means never changes, never declines, can never be destroyed, and also transcends everything which becomes known to you as an object. In fact, your status of being subject also you transcend, because only when an object is there, you are a subject, correct? So the status of being a subject also you transcend. In fact, you are the reality on whom the subject-object duality is superimposed. It's all only adhyastha. It's only an appearance in you. So you are the reality who is not bound by any space-time. Then automatically you are ananta, right? You are limitless. You are not limited by space. You are not limited by time. You are not limited by any object in space-time, because all of them are in you. You are not in them. In fact, this Bhagavan says, this is like an inequality, correct? All of them are then in me, but I am not in them. That is the beauty, correct? In the 9th chapter, this is taught by Bhagavan in the Bhagavad Gita. This is the Satyam Mithya. You have to understand. The Mithya depends on the Satyam, the reality. So you can say Mithya is Satyam or Mithya is in Satyam. But Satyam does not depend on Mithya, or Satyam is not even there in Mithya. Or in your understanding of Satyam, none of the Mithya Vastus need to be there. For example, pot, if I say clay pot, without cognizing the clay, there is no pot, correct? So clay pot, in your understanding of a clay pot, clay has to be there, because clay is the very material which is there, correct? If you touch the pot, you are touching the clay. If you weigh the pot, you are weighing the clay. In fact, it's the weight of the clay alone. So there is no pot without it being the clay. So the very existence of the pot has its dependence on it being clay. In fact, it's a borrowed existence. The clay's existence alone is there for the pot. But it is not the other way around. In your understanding of clay, there is no potness. Understand that. When you look at something as clay, it is clay. There is only clayness in your understanding. There is no potness anywhere there. Because the clay transcends the pot. Even though the pot is clay, the clay is not pot. Or my Guruji used to say, there is an actor in a drama, correct? So the actor is playing a beggar. The role is of a beggar. And the actor is an expert actor, great actor, has observed many beggars and is playing the role so well. Okay. And everybody is applauding the actor. So the beggar is the actor, because there is no beggar without the actor being there. But the actor is not beggar. Even while playing the beggar role, this fellow has earned $1 million by being the beggar, correct? So the beggar is actor, but the actor is not beggar. So this is the inequality one has to understand very clearly. Satyam is not Mithya, but Mithya is Satyam. So all these Mithya things appear in you, including space-time. You are not in any of those things. You transcend all of them. That's why you are Ananta, you are limitless, because you are not in any of these things. And you are Ritam. Ritam is Satyam. So Satyam means what Bhashyakara defines in the Taittiriya Upanishad Bhashya. The word Satyam comes. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So Satyam, how does Bhashyakara define Satyam? Yad rupena yen nishchitam bhavati tad rupena tanna vyabhicharati iti Satyam. Having ascertained something as this, it can never be changed, it never changes, it can never be negated. That which can never be negated is the truth. Correct? I told you even last week about the story about the professor who questioned my Guruji. So when we talk about Ritam, Satyam, truth, etc., there is a lot of confusion going around. Correct? People, just to sound intellectual, people can say anything. So people say that truth cannot be defined. There is no one truth, my truth, your truth, relativity and all that. This is again a big thing nowadays. Whose truth you are talking about? Means in a relative world, all that is fine. But absolutely there is a truth. Without the truth being there, nobody can even connect two cognitions, correct? There has to be an underlying, unchanging, invariable reality to which everything becomes evident. Otherwise, there is no connection between two cognitions. The truth is the only thing which cannot be negated. So how do you define the truth? Means simply that which can never be negated is the truth. So there is a definition. This definition cannot be broken. But then is there such a truth? Means yes, because you can negate everything, but the negator can never be negated. In fact, if you are not negating anything also, still you are there. That is your reality. That is the reality. You negate everything and give up the negator's status also, but you are still there. Whatever is still there left after negating everything and the negator also is gone, that is you. And that is not shunya. That is not something which is not there, correct? That is an existing thing alone is there. Even to cognize the vacuum, there has to be somebody, correct? Even if you talk about, if you remove everything, what is shunya means? Who is cognizing the shunya? There has to be somebody. So even if you talk about a vacuum, physical vacuum and all that, then who is knowing that vacuum? That person you cannot take away. Let us assume that there is a quantum system where there is nothing. But even to collapse that, there has to be an observer, even scientifically speaking. So that is the awareness we are talking about. That is you. And that awareness does not have any qualities also. Vigunam, Vigata Gunam. Without any guna, nirgunascha, sakshi, cheta, nirgunascha, like this. Shruti also is there. Yattad adreshyam, agrahyam, asparsham, like this. This Brihadaranyaka also, there is a huge vakya negating everything. So it is not a substance, it is not a quality. It is not any category in which you cannot fit into any category, this reality. It is uncategorizable. That's why it is Vigunam. It doesn't have any guna, any quality. Even the conscious being and all we are saying, correct? That is also at the end of the day to differentiate it from not being a jada. Even the word Atma is not required. Bhashyakara is arguing in the Brihadaranyaka Bhashya in 1410, I think, 147 or 10. I have to see that. So there is a Purva Pakshi is asking, then why use the word Atma also? Because you say Yato, Vacho, Nivartante, Apra, Apya, Manasa, Saha. So from which all words return along with the mind. Why? Because this reality cannot be objectified by your mind. It is not the direct meaning of any word. Then why are you using the word self, Atma, I? So for that Bhashyakara says, even that is all only provisional. You don't even have to use the word I for this reality, because it is not just I alone. Whatever you see also is the same reality. That is what you have to arrive at. But you start from somewhere. So Atma also is only Adhyaropa. The word Atma itself, because it is the one, because it has to be recognized as something, correct? And it is recognized as I. Whatever is I, the whatever is throbbing as I in your own buddhi, that I is nothing but this reality alone. But once you have known that reality to be what it is, even the word I can be given up. There is no need of denoting it by any particular word also, because it is the meaning of all words, or it is the meaning of no words. In fact, both you have to say. It cannot be the direct meaning of any one word, or you have to say it is the meaning of all the words. That is the beauty of this. That is the reality, in fact. Vigunam. And Hridayastham also is meaning the same thing. Hridayastham means, then how do I know? Where do I know this reality? Means you have to know this reality only in your, here Hridaya is buddhi, in your mind, in your intellect. Manasa eva anudrashtavyam. Like this. The Upanishad also says it has to be seen only by your mind, because the problem with all this is, after saying all these things, Atma transcends everything. Means then people say, you cannot know it through your mind. See, even Upanishad is saying it cannot be objectified by the mind. It is not the meaning of any one word. It is not, it cannot be indicated by any word. So don't study Upanishad also. Upanishad itself is saying that. Then take that and say that, why are you studying the Upanishad? Why are you looking outside? Look inside. Hey, it is not for that. You cannot take it like that. Only through the mind you can know this also. In fact, all the wrong notions are sitting there. So you have to give up. All the wrong notions are mental only at the end of the day, correct? So knowledge also is mental. The only difference or only thing here is that all the other things, what you have known through your mind, you have known it as an object of your mind. But yourself can never be objectified. It need not be objectified, in fact. That is the beauty. So all you do is what you know yourself by giving up all wrong notions about yourself, and that's it. Then self is there as it is. It need not be objectified. It is self-revealing, self-existent Atma. You recognize it for what it is. So that is the main difference here. So this Hridayastham avehi sada ahamiti. So whatever is throbbing as I, this I sense, what is the reality of that I? It is the conscious being, which is limitless, which is the reality, which transcends all that appears in space-time. It transcends space-time itself, which is free from all qualities. But you finally recognize it only in your buddhi. All knowledge has to take place in your buddhi only. Understand that knowledge doesn't take place anywhere else. So unnecessarily, people make it mystic. Even to understand that you transcend everything, that understanding takes place in the mind. So own up to this reality that you are this limitless conscious being. Okay, how do you say I am this limitless conscious being? How do you say there is only one reality? Whatever which is appearing also is there, equally real. And how can you say this reality is untouched by whatever is being perceived. Whatever becomes evident to me, it all affects me, correct? I know that as an individual, I am getting affected by everything. In fact, nowadays, too many things I know. At least previously, people did not know too much about the wider world. Their world was a few villages around, and they were better off. Now, whatever happens in some Timbuktu also, I know that, and I'm worrying about it. Too much overload. How do you say that this Atma is unaffected by all these things? Means then next verse comes into the picture. The Guru is now giving some analogies so that you can understand that there is only one conscious being which is lighting up all the minds, correct? There are so many body, mind, sense complexes. All of them are lighted up by only one consciousness. But that one consciousness itself is unaffected by whatever is going on in all these body, mind, sense complexes. So what is the analogy for that? In fact, this analogy also is there in Bhagavad Gita. Two analogies are given here. Actually, one is of the sun, another is of the space. Okay. So sun itself lights up everything and it gets reflected in so many media. But there is only one sun. And whatever may happen to the reflections of sun itself is not affected by all that, correct? Similarly, space is there. Space is only one. It is indivisible. And in fact, it is incorruptible also, correct? Untouchable. Space is not, it doesn't become dirty because some smoke is there. Because there are many parts, again, it doesn't become divided really. In fact, parts themselves are in space, in fact. Although we say part space, as though space is in part. So space is one indivisible entity, but appears as though divided by many objects like parts. Sun is one entity, but it brightens up everything. It lights up everything, and it is also appearing as many in so many reflections, in so many reflecting media. Both space and sun, one appears as many. That is one part of the analogy, correct? The other part is they are not affected by any of this appearance. No, both these things one has to understand clearly. So that we'll see next week. This analogy is also from Bhagavad Gita, in fact. Bhagavad Gita 13th chapter, if you see in the end, Bhagavan gives these two analogies. And Bhashyakara also talks about how these differences are coming about in his Bhashya. So we'll see all that next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.